Okay.
All right. We're starting this off in the mid-conversation, and yeah. I'm talking about video games right now. You're like a PC Master Race kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
PC Master Race, and you don't know about the newer Legend of Zelda games, right? Last one you played was what?
Ocarina of Time. It was a long time ago.
Ocarina of Time, and what did you think about that? I don't know your opinion on it.
I've enjoyed every Zelda game I've ever played, but there are endless number of fun things you can do in the world and games I can play in the world, and I'm not into game controllers. I'm like you said, I'm PC Kingdom
PC
or whatever you
Master
want to call
Race.
it.
Master,
Like,
you don't even know about the PC Master. Damn, I just got blurry. You don't even know about the PC Master Race concept?
well, no.
Come on.
I forgot the term. I understand. It's because it is true. Because, for instance, if you play these shooter games, for instance,
Oh yeah.
if you're playing a shooter game,
you're off the
PC
table.
Players
If you're
will
gonna control
smoke everybody. They'll smoke it, and the people on console are even getting auto aim. They're even getting a level of auto aim for them. It's just so stupid. Like,
yeah,
they do that in the
it's a huge handicap.
You have a scroll speed on your turn. You have a certain speed, and PC can go whoop. They can flip. They can do a flip of 360 and see everything, and they can shoot you before you even turn your character around. It's just so much better.
It's true. Fortunately, Legend of Zelda is a single player game. You get to take your time in it. You get to enjoy it however you want to enjoy it.
I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to spend $1,500 on a new system and start gaming for life.
That sounds like something that a PC Master Race player would say. You don't have to spend $1,500 just so you can play a game. That's the interesting thing about PC Master Race people is that they believe that, oh, if I want to play this game, I got to drop a crap ton of money. And the interesting thing is that's largely true. For if you wanted to play the like Breath of the Wild, okay, you could play Breath of the Wild for $1,500. Just imagine this. For $1,500, you could play Breath of the Wild, the new Super Mario RPG that's coming out. You could play Mario Kart. There's all kinds of Mario games that are coming out. You could play. There's Smash Brothers, and then there's Tears of the Kingdom, which is the newest Mario Brothers, and you're not even at $1,500. You're not even at close to $1,000. That's like $400, and you got crazy.
I don't have the system in the first place. I'm not a fan of console games.
It's $300.
My couch is very uncomfortable.
How's your bed?
I'm not.
I play Tears of the Kingdom in bed. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Okay, so here's the thing. There's no reason why I need to find more video games to play. I already have plenty to keep me busy, and that's already too much. I already have to try to control my
but you're just grinding
to make sure I'm not. Am I obsessed? I always manage. I'm making sure I'm doing all this.
Right? Is that you're landing in these games that you end up having to be obsessed in. Okay, you got Diablo 4, right?
Yeah.
And so
I haven't played Diablo in 20 years, and it just came out and said, you know what? Let's do it.
Well, of course.
I played it back when it came out. Back in Diablo 2
so I guess you didn't play 3 or 2.
I never played 3. I never played 3.
You never played 3. Loss there.
I played 2 for like in 1999 or something.
Yeah.
And I played it for a couple of years.
So how many times have you beaten Diablo 4 now? How many characters
there isn't a beating situation with it. How
many characters do you have?
I actually only have one real character. I have a pretend character that I started with you that is gone nowhere. But
same here. Mine's not gone anywhere.
I have one character, and I'm enjoying the process. And I'm not actually. I mean, I'm hardcoring it in the sense that I learn all the nitty-gritty details and the small, cool ways that you can kind of tweak your character and all that kind of stuff. But I could be level 100, but I'm not. I'm level 84 or something. 100 is the max currently. I could have been level 100, like probably 5 days into it being released, and it's about three and a half
We've kind of
weeks
held
now.
yourself back a little bit.
No, it's not about holding back. It's like I'm not trying to defeat it and be done. I'm just chilling with it. I'm hanging out, and in fact, it's been a good opportunity to. I've been talking with my brother like every night because he's playing and whatever else, and so we're on the phone together, and he's just like, hey, can you come help me with this? I'm like, sure, and I go and help him, and it's fine. We just talk about different things. It's something nerd about. It's fun. It's a very casual game, honestly, and it's just fun to just slay millions of monsters. I don't. I can actually listen to things when I play it because normally I can't listen to anything.
So it sounds like you kind of play games that are they're really interesting and they have very deep systems to them. But at the face of it,
blindly.
But in the face of it, it's pretty dull, right? Because it's just grind.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
all
kind of like the
conceptual.
upgrades. Yeah, it's the upgrades that make it interesting. It's the pathway that you choose and how your character evolves skill-wise that's interesting, but not so like story-wise is kind of like, okay, it's
so that has
like you'll go
evolved.
through it, but
That has evolved over the last 10 years. I used to give zero craps about any sort of storyline. I used to not care about anything except for, like, I would always have the lowest possible graphic settings because I want the fastest response times. I used to just care about, I played Quake. Um, I played some CS, Counter-Strike. I played games where it mattered when you had first-person shooters and things like that, where it mattered how you want to defeat people constantly. And I used to play that type of game, and I played EverQuest type of games where you you put in a lot of hours and you just wait for a monster to spawn that you need to kill to get an item, and then he doesn't have it, and you wait a lot more hours until he finally drops what you need.
How
I would
did you
just do
feel
that.
about
But
that?
you could also, so you could easily, though, when that's happening is like there's like 16 people on Discord that you're just talking to. You're hanging out doing what and talking what they're talking about different things. Sometimes you're just there and like you're doing things around the house and you're whatever else. You just have the Discord on and or you can have a headset or anything on. You can talk and not even be at the PC and then say pop. Pop means like it spawned type thing, and you run in and you kill it, whatever else, and you wait another 2.5 hours.
It's
or
like
something.
a community-based.
Yeah, it's a community-based just
kind of a thing. That's actually a really cool thing. I think that's a really neat thing.
Yeah. So I've gotten out of. I mean, when I was young, I used to love things like Tekken and Street Fighter 2 and Mario and Link and all that kind of stuff. But it's changed so much that now I care about there being either something.
There has to be more.
It's either grindy and something you're achieving, you're creating a character, you're getting stronger and stronger, but like not everyone's exactly the same, or there has to be a competitive player versus other real players.
Interesting.
Playing versus the PC versus the computer interests me little. I want to normally.
Okay. So you're not very interested in a game developer and designer crafting with the utmost care to deliver you a very personalized experience for you that's designed for the player to intake,
for everyone to be able to recap the movie at the end of it. It's all exactly the same. Like to me, it doesn't feel like we're like, oh, I beat this game and this is the progression and this is where it was. It's not like I like there being unique results.
So it's almost like if there was a movie that came out, right? Like
choose
maybe
your own adventure movie. I would choose.
Like a choose your own adventure kind of a movie. Like say there's the Dungeons and Dragons movie that comes out, right? And like you would effectively want to be able to set the stats of each of those characters, and that would effectively determine the pathway that those characters would end up doing. And so if somebody else were to watch that and they were to set the stats differently, they would end up with a whole new movie.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of games that you're interested in. So when we kind of started jumping into this conversation, I was talking about,
and he drugged me through it too, by the way. I was like,
dragged
not
you
done.
right into it because I heard that there is a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake that's coming out on all these systems, and it's also on PC. And
I gave him the bah humbug treatment because
he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be interested in that, and blah blah. And I was like, dude, this was like the best. This was one of this is my top favorite game of that time for several years after it came out. I had so much fun with it. And here's the one of the
I will give you a thumbs up emoji when you say you beat it.
Oh,
I'll be like,
I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I thought like when I beat it, I was like, dude, like I kind of get to a point where I'm like, man, I'm sad that I'm actually ending this. But even after I beat it, I went back and I played it more. Because there's bosses that were in that game that were so fun. There's this guy, he's the end. And he's like the sniper guy. And like
just so everyone knows, this guy does video game type of stuff for a living. So
yes, I work in video games for a living, but inconsequential because this game was so good. And one of the magical things about this game, I think, is the story, the way that everything progresses. It does get personalized specifically to you based off of how you chose to play. If you wanted to go through guns blazing and just killing everything that you wanted, you're going to end up with different kinds of experiences than other people are. So there is some level of, I mean, like there's certain plot points and all these things as you go through that are going to generally be kind of the same because there's cutscenes and they're not going to completely recraft a cutscene so that it's specific to you. But there's little secrets, there's little gems. Like I'll do a little bit of a spoiler of some sort, right? But there's a moment in the game where, and sometimes they have these things where they just drag something on, and it's just like, oh my god, how long is this going to be? And so there's one where you're walking through
some NPC, and then the story, and then let's move on.
No, it's not like that. It's more like this, like you're walking through this tunnel, and it's at like there's water up to your knees, right? And you're walking through this long tunnel, and from what I remember, it's been a long time, so I may be mistaken, but it's like you were drugged or something like that, or something was happening. And as you're going through, but it's like a retribution. And one of the things about it is because what's so awesome about it is that it's the game has a story and it has a message to send you. And so as you're like walking through this tunnel of like knee-high water, all of the people that you killed up to that point are dead bodies. You're just walking past dead bodies and more. So if you just went through and just slaughtered hundreds of people, you're gonna have a crap ton of bodies that you're gonna have to walk through.
That game is revolved around stealth, and sometimes you can even get through the whole game without killing many people, right?
Right.
You just
but you can also beat the entire game by not killing anyone. So the scene can be completely different because it's much more challenging, but because you have a tranquilizer dart, so you can just put people to sleep. So and you can get through your missions like that. So if you go through that same scene, you're not going to have all of those bodies that are going to be coming through, right? Mm-hmm. So there's these little things, and that's just like one example, but there's lots of little things that they do in that game that kind of help to personalize your experience.
Sure, if certain people are dead, you don't get certain missions, and
No, it's not certain people are dead and so you don't get missions. It's not anything like that. It's a very linear story. It's just that like how the message is conveyed to you is different. Like if you play through as a pacifist, you can see that you can see that you played through as a pacifist, and there's messaging that kind of goes along with it. And then but if you went brutally and you just killed everybody, you just were a slaughterhouse, then your take of the game and of the story kind of translates a little bit differently. And so there's so many interesting, quirky things that are in the game, and little Easter eggs and secret things and stuff to explore and find, that I feel like it's just it's an art piece. And it's kind of like, okay, you can sit there. I guess here's what I would suggest to you: when you're done and you're tired of doing the grind and doing your own little thing, just being like, duh, 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 I'm slaughtering things mindlessly, but all of my interest lies in how my upgrade tree goes. Like, check out Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, because it is absolutely magnificent. It's a fantastic game, and I'm ecstatic that they're coming out with a remake, not like an HD, but like a full-on remake. So whenever you get around to having a little bit of a shift in the types of games you play,
PC game part element to it. If it's a PC game,
yeah,
it's a possibility. And if and the thing is, though, if it's like a $70 game that I know that it's not really of my interest, it's gonna be hard to me want to buy it. But $70 game is worth it for a game that you really want to play. But if I don't have that level of interest, it's like $70 is a lot to pay, you know?
I understand it. I'm just saying, hey, if you get like, I don't know what game to play, and I'm tired of doing the grindy thing, because that's gonna get old at some point. There was a game, Disgaea, or Disgaea, however you're supposed to pronounce it, and it's a tactics based game. Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
Okay, it's a tactics-based game where it's like it's a grid, and you have a character, and you move them around a board, and then you just select attack, and then you and then deals damage. Yeah, and then they get to attack you and all this stuff, right? And so part of what that game does is it allows you to go into these extra worlds. Like, you can go into an item like a sword, and you can power up the sword, and the whole game is all grind. And then you can like revert your character's level all the way back down to 1, and then you can build him up again, but he has a tiny bit of a base stat boost.
Yeah.
And you just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. And they're at like, I don't know if it's like Disgaea 7 or something like that now. And it's like, it's hard to want to keep doing that and keep playing that same type of game.
Repeat. Yeah.
Right. And it's got a different story. It's got different characters, and the mechanics are changed up a little bit. And, it's a little bit fresh. It's a little bit new, but the way that you're playing the game, the whole purpose of the game is all the same. And so when you're looking at Path of Exile, and you're looking at Diablo 4, or whatever other kind of games that you're checking out, like, these are all the same type of thing. So I guess when you're tired of doing the same type of thing, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is an excellent one, I think, to go through, because it tells an excellent story that you get to cater to yourself.
So interestingly enough, I've never done any sort of single player game since like high school until like 2-3 years ago. I decided, you know what? All right, I played Witcher 3. It was really fun.
Yeah,
and it's similar. It's like Diablo, but it's not. It's a first person fighter type of thing. Same
third
time.
person.
Third person, right? Sure, yeah. And then I also played it was fun. So like I was able to do that. That was fine.
Yeah.
But this is years after the fact, so I could sit there and buy the game for like $30 on Steam or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I played a couple more. I played which one that was Starve, Don't Starve. I don't know. It's a survival game where it's a solo thing. And it was fun for like
it's an indie game. It's kind of a little
niche. You play these games for like 12 hours or something like that, and they're done.
How long did you play Witcher 3?
It probably took 30 hours to beat, something like that.
So you actually spent the 30 hours and you beat it, though, right?
Yes.
And how did you enjoy it? Like,
Unfortunately, I did that in one weekend.
well, that's pretty sweet because I mean, how did you feel about the game? Like when you look back on it, was it a good experience? Like, was that a good weekend that you just like got to dump
So
into it
I'm not
and
really
you got to just
I'm
move
not really
on?
arguing the merits of like of video game and time, and I'm not really talking about that. It's I mean, yes, and especially with me being single right now, it doesn't really matter in a lot of ways. But I have been trying to reforge my because eventually there's gonna be a girlfriend and a woman permanently in my life, and I don't like having the my drive to play a video game being the primary driver of my existence. And if you're chasing game to game to game to game to game and you have that type of thing, you just consume, that's hard to escape. But if you have a couple games and you kind of play them, chill, whatever else, you can actually kind of put it into a place where it is maybe it's a hobby that you like doing, but you don't have to, but you can actually be centered on like the people in your life. And because I had an issue, like when I was married, I had an issue with that where um I always did all the things I was supposed to do. I was very responsible. I kept care of things whenever if anyone was home or awake or around, I would never do anything.
But you'd be
But
thinking about that game, and I want to
I
get
was
to it.
secretly like trying to strategize my life. Okay, so if I if I do this, then I can actually create like a 3 hour block where no one's home and I can play. And I was just like my whole mission was to do life correctly so that I had permission to basically spend 8 hours sometime or whatever. Oh, you have a headache, honey? Okay, go to bed so I can stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning and play. So it was all like looking for that constantly. And
Yeah,
so it's not a matter of if games are worthwhile playing or if I can play them or not, but like I don't like the idea of chasing fun, chasing enjoyment in life, finding meaning in things, constantly finding meaning in things that are not important. Like
yeah.
so I guess
I get that. I feel like though, is like games. There's certain kind of games like mobile games.
I will never
Um,
install another mobile game again in my life.
yeah. So mobile games. There are like games like even like Diablo or World of Warcraft or Path of Exile or whatever. You know these the grindy kind of games. Um, you kind of I feel like you kind of have to typically like be a part of those games
Yes,
on
and
the
that was an issue.
regular,
Yeah,
and
that was
then
an
and
issue. That's
then
why I don't play
they
EverQuest anymore.
stretch.
That's why I don't play EverQuest anymore. But like what I do play, which I haven't played League of Legends like 6 months, but that's a cool game to just chill and play 20-minute games, here and there. And like, oh, I got
Yeah,
an hour, I'm gonna play 3 games of it. Um, and Diablo is mindless. I can grind it, but then I can not do anything and then come back and continue the grind. 6 months later, it
right.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
So
same
it
thing,
does
same thing
even
with
in
Path of
games like
Exile.
that.
But if you get EverQuest, it's a live situation of where you have people and you have clan members or guild
People who
members
are relying on you.
and you get friendship stuff and you almost feel and you have these things, spawn timers and like they're like a dragon spawn window is 16 hours. It can happen anytime during that, and it's really important. We have to have X number
You
of
have to
people
be
from the
there.
guild available at all times, watching the spawn, just staring at nothing, just chatting with each other in Discord, waiting for it. And so
Yeah.
like you have to take shifts and that type of thing. And sometimes you had to like have Twitter set up so that so that if
Your
you're
life
sleeping,
revolved around it.
yes, if you're sleeping and it goes bing and it rings, you're like, crap. You get up and you log on, you help kill the dragon. So it's like
Jeez.
that's why
Intrusive.
EverQuest is not okay. It's grindy and it's awesome, whatever. I like that type of thing, but it's because it starts to do everything. But these other games I'm playing are variants of the type of grindy without having to connect my life to other things.
Yeah.
Like, so I can actually be my own person and sure, indulge way too much, have way too much, but they can be cut off at any time. And like in Diablo, like I could do Alt F4, which is close the program at any point, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I can do it in a moment. I mean, yes, when you're playing and you're having some sort of epic battle, you don't want to do that per se, but
Sure.
it's like
If you
oh, it's
did,
time
there's
to.
no
It's
consequences,
like
really.
oh, something happened. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If my character dies, it doesn't matter. I just respawns, and I just got to repair the armor. But it's like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have the disconnection, but still have some sort of cool, fun, grindy thing that's in my mind that I like to do. So that's
Yeah.
why I push back against games that are popcorn game type of things. It's cool, but it's more about the like oh the steam whatever, there's a certain special come out, you get like 50 games for like $20 or something like that happens every year. I can't remember what it is. There's things like this like
The
that
Steam
were
sale
really
or whatever. Yeah.
cool that my friend Nick used to try to get me to doing things, and you can do that, but it's part of that.
You might spend like 15 minutes on those games because they just don't really vibe with you. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah,
people who have so many games from Steam
something bundle,
that
I've heard
there's
it's
no
called.
way that they're going to be able to even remotely play those games.
Well, it was just a matter of like there's always a new game. There's always a new game, and you're always looking for more things, and that's what I don't like about it. So
That makes sense, you know. And I mean, I that's actually kind of one of the problems that I have had at times is like I can juggle very few games. I mean, right now I think I play like Marvel Snap, which is a mobile game, which you're not even going to be remotely
no,
interested in. But I play that, and I play the Tears of the Kingdom. And so the thing about Tears of the Kingdom is like it's kind of a game that I try to pick it up every day. If I don't, it's not a big deal. Um, but it's like I don't know. It's kind of almost like it's an open world. It's almost like a sandbox. It's almost like the world is my oyster. So I just when I like I can hop into it and I can just have fun. I don't necessarily even need or require um like beating that game isn't really much of a goal that
yeah,
I have. It's more just kind of like I just want to at some point soon ish like find all of the things that allow me to craft all of the things that I want to
yeah,
be able to build because I see all these videos of people making really crazy cool things. Like I kind of wish that I would have that access to those things a little bit sooner. Like there's like these small wheels and I don't even have
yeah,
access to those. I have access to the big wheels, but not the small wheels. And it's like I see online there's a ton of stuff that's been made
yeah.
and I don't have that use the
So
small wheels and I can't even make them.
the issue I have with mobile games in general is because you bring the games with you at all times on your phone, and
And they task you with shit.
yeah, well, it's not just that. It's that I need to be at work when I'm at work. And I
Yeah.
need to not always, like I said, just same type of theme that I've been talking about is I need to not have
Yeah.
games be part of my life all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dedicate your
it's way too
time
much right
to
now
whatever
just in
your
how I'm
focus
living my
is.
life as a single guy, but it's you have to provide strategies. You have to do strategies in life to make sure that you can try to. I mean, because it's easy to just fall into just fun and things that it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't hurt anybody. Video games are hurt anybody. It's fine. Yes, but it's kind of like you think, oh, I can have girls that are friends if you're married type of thing. I can girl, yeah, sure, but
But that's going to
you
cause a lot
still
of
need to make
problems.
you still don't go out to lunch with them once a week, you know?
Yeah.
It's just there's things you just don't do.
Yeah.
It's not that in a perfect world you can't do it, like, like you can go, like you can be like, oh, I haven't caught up with this person for a while. You can say, hey dear, can I go she's gonna be over at the thing tomorrow and have lunch. Is that okay? You can do that sometimes, like maybe
Yeah.
once a year or something like that, but like you can't have something is in place where you're constantly putting yourself in a bad situation. There's no I've had mobile games on there where it just makes you like constantly. It's like your work day is like 4 hours longer because you just keep on going back, and trying to be efficient with how you're getting the achievements, and like there's a certain 4 hour window, then you can do this thing again, and like so it's just dumb. So I just don't do any. There's no mobile games on my phone that I know of, unless there's like some hearts or something that's on there by default.
Mobile games are predatory,
Yeah,
hands down.
and
They
then
absolutely are.
microtransaction things too,
That's
and
how they're
they'll get you to
designed.
spend stuff.
That's how they're designed.
Yeah, they
It's to
are.
figure out ways to get you to spend money on their product, and they're like, it's so crazy because it's like all they have to do is say, here's the thing that's they create something once, and they get to sell it. That one object, that one item. It's like, hey, I've invented an apple, and it's like, I'm the only one in the entire world that has this apple tree, and it has an unlimited supply of apples, but I get to supply you. I can supply you with it, but you have to pay me for it.
Yeah,
Paching, paching,
and the
paching.
transactions are like $1, $2, and sometimes you can get a bundle. So it's only like $1
Yeah,
for this one thing or whatever you want in there. It's like, oh, that takes me like 3 hours to get that, or I can just pay him $1. It's like that's not worth my time, right? But then
they
they
manufacture.
make you do like, oh, if you spend $20 or $50 or $100, you can get a bundle. You can get 1,000 for 50. That's what value,
Well, they can manufacture value out of nothing.
Yeah.
So they can say, here's gold, and gold for X amount of gold, it costs like $20. But if you buy this bundle, you get these two things that have cool artwork, and you'll even get more gold than if you were to
Yes.
buy the gold on its own. So and then you get all these extra things that go along with it. And so it's like, oh, that's a really good deal. But it's really
Yes,
kind of
it's a
like,
really good deal to
it's a
be
really good
nickel
deal,
and
but like
dimed into
you're
spending
literally
a couple
buying
$1,000
nothing.
on a game over the course of a couple months, right?
Yeah, and the thing is like after like say 3 years, say you played for 3 years, at some point you're gonna be like, I'm done playing this game. I can't. I'm like, I wonder how many people, like, what's the oldest online mobile game
Right.
that somebody has been playing from the start, and are they still playing it? Like,
Here's
people
something
move
worse.
on,
Here's something worse.
and what can you do about them
No, okay. There's something
with it?
worse than you expiring on the game. What ends up happening is there's a streamer that I've been watching. He reported Diablo 4 tips and tricks and whatever else. He's talking about how like because he's a streamer, he does it for a living. He can spend money on these games, and
Yep,
he's still making way more money, so he just does it anyways. But he
yep,
spent $6,000 in this game over the course of a year doing things and whatever else,
yeah.
and like 2 months later, they just stop the game. They just say, "Oh, we're done."
Oh, the
They
game, yeah,
decide
and then the
the
game
game just
dies.
decides it's done, and then like you're okay, all this, and now I can't even log in to look at my character. It's like they say we're closing the servers down in like September or whatever else. They just decide they're done because they're done milking people and no one's buying anything anymore. So therefore the
Yep,
game's done. So that happens on repeat. So you sit there, even if you are doing something that you find value in and you're spending money and you're staying within a budget and you're doing everything all right,
it
they
could
can
all
take it
just
away
go
from you at
away
any time.
anyways.
They can take it away at any time, and it's like
Yeah,
then there's a waste that you didn't want to. It's like, wait, but I paid for that.
I've invested in this so much, like, yeah,
Yeah,
and they just walk away and they're like, hey, I
it's like,
hope you
hey,
enjoyed your
we have
time.
this new
That's what
game
you paid
coming
for.
out that does the exact same thing in a different way with a different theme.
Yeah,
You
here's
can pay
Marvel
three
Snap
thousand dollars on
2.
that too. Yeah,
Here's Marvel Snap 2. It's the same game, only we have even more updated art. So you can
yeah.
dump your money into that even more. You know, something that I was like thinking about a long time ago. Remember, I mentioned Disgaea, or Disgaea a little bit ago. And one of the things that I kind of wish that they allowed us to do is to take the characters that we worked on, because of what ends up happening is like you take like maybe one to three characters, because you can have like 10 characters out on the field. but you end up getting like super beefing up one character because they'd end up just being so strong. And if you could take that one character or whoever you wanted and port them into the next game, right? So what I'm kind of getting at is if games created a pathway that enabled the legacy of what it is that you did and accomplished,
and then you can have your $3,000 character that you've
just
invested
to
in
transcend
it'll transcend into another game and be like, hey, you could we allow that you to import characters from such and such games, and you're like, oh, and then so you go to that game, and
so what you spent, what the time that you put in isn't worth nothing. Like I don't know if you've ever experienced
it's still worth nothing, but what they do is they allow you to carry it in your own mind. It's because like you'll start with
everlasting if you can move it.
You'll start
if you can move that to something else.
Graphics. You'll start with special skins from the old game that you can't get in this one, but you look like this, but you'll still start at 0 and have to pay the money to get up through the next game. So it's like you're not really saving anything. You're preserving, like, look, I'm in this game, but I actually have Ninja Gaiden type stuff on. It's like it's
so you know what amiibos are?
What? No.
Amiibos. So amiibos are these really cool Nintendo figures that you can go to the store and you can buy for $15 or whatever, right? Brand new, if they're like just came out. And so they have like data that gets stored on them, right? And you can take it and depending on which amiibo you have, it can produce something different in each of these games that are supportive of it. So it's kind of like it's something that you can get that actually is physical. It is real and it has a function. So I feel like that's going somewhat in the right direction, but still it's like I don't know how much of the time and effort, because time, I don't know if you must have, because I feel like all gamers, at least in our general generation, have had the experience of losing the save data, losing their save game that they spent 100+ hours in.
So I've had a worse scenario. I had a worse scenario. I had a guy, a friend of mine, long term in the game, steal my account and rob me of everything, and he deleted characters.
Right. That's even worse.
Yes.
That's even worse.
I felt raped. But, honestly, I felt raped. I felt bad. I felt horrible.
Right.
Because I invested so much, even though it's pointless in the world and in the scheme of things, it's a betrayal.
Oh, absolutely. But that was like a personal betrayal. Yeah. What if you just like you couldn't find your memory card anymore, or your memory card got corrupted?
Okay.
Right. If those things happen, it's like this heavy impact that you get hit with, and it's emotionally damaging. It's like, oh my goodness.
But it's also kind of ridiculous, right?
It is, but it's real.
Yeah, no,
it's a real experience, right? And so, but when you think about it though, right? If you have that saved data and you still have it to this day, say you were like 12 years old and you have like the PS1 memory card and your data,
you have it to this day and you lose it, you're still be mad about it.
You're still going to be mad about it because that was currency. Really, when you think about it, that is currency. It may not be currency to anybody else. Nobody's willing to buy it. Nobody gives a shit, but you care because that's your time and energy.
I haven't played EverQuest in years, but I have a character that is like decked out, that has like at the time, one of the very few people that had an epic mage pet that was like, it was really, really hard to get a hold of. Every once in a while, I'll contact this guy in Discord to make sure that because they use it sometimes in the guild. They use it sometimes to do some things for guild stuff in this park somewhere, so they can open a door or whatever else. But like, I make sure it's there. I want it alive, even though I'm not playing that game.
Yeah,
I'm not playing it anymore. I'm still invested in like that's work I put in. I want that character to live forever.
These things have meaning.
So dumb, but
These things have meaning and they have power. And honestly, it's an untapped market. It's an untapped market power that 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 just kind of exists within people, and it's
But they are
nobody's
going to
doing
try to do
anything
that
about it.
if they can get the metaverse going, right? If they can get good enough technology where people can put the 3D headsets on and create their own persona, create their own space, and you can actually interact with people. It doesn't make you dizzy and make you in like because I have an Oculus. If they can get like that, yes, what you can actually have a persona that you're investing in just like that, and have it be yes, and they can attach you to it and they can use it to make money on you
Well,
because
I guess,
you want to preserve this type of thing or you want to add this to
yeah,
your persona online. And
like in a sense, I mean, I'm sure you must have seen the movie Ready Player One.
yes,
I mean, that's almost like an ideal, perfect type of a situation, in that, like, okay, you played Final Fantasy VII and you have all this saved data and you accomplished all this stuff, and the reward that you get for that is you get like a digital Buster Sword,
yeah,
and you just and in wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, you can bust out your Buster Sword, right?
yeah,
Or even in Disgaea, like whatever it is, like you can have this outfit of Laharl, or you can have in Tears of the Kingdom, you just gain the ability to attach things to other things or whatever,
yeah.
right? And so it's like, if we can figure out a way to, it could even almost be like, hey, here's a game that has nothing to do with it, and it just can be ported over into this other game so that it lives. Like, you could look at Pokemon. One of the brilliant things, that one of the only things at this point almost that it has going for it, is that you can take Pokemon that you spent tons and tons and tons of time training. Like, you breed these eggs until you get the right one that has the right stats that you have, that and it's shiny, and then you train it and you have it fight against specific other Pokemon so that it gains stats this very specific certain way, and then you max him out, and he's like, this is the perfect Pokemon. It literally needs nothing else. He has the right moves. He has everything. Best version of this Pokemon that I could create. And you can take that and you can port him into the next game and into the next game and into the next game for the foreseeable future. Having that ability, like, that's something that allows that taps into people, that provides value.
Well, it also makes you brand loyal in a lot of ways too.
Right.
So you want to, like, if someone comes out with another game within the universe that exists, so another Pokemon style game, or in the universe of Pokemon, or some sort of alter ego universe, whatever it is, some sort of thing, if they can somehow link it so where that you can use that, you might be like, I put all this work in and I can make it matter again.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like,
That's
you can make it
what
relevant
needs to
again. All
happen.
you can always bring back to life all the work you did before. Yes.
Right.
So this is what they will do to capture more people's money. Yes. So is that what you're talking about?
Well, the only way that
They're
you
going to
capture
capture your
people,
money because you're just bringing
it's
back
not
the
through
good old days.
microtransactions. It's through purchasing these games,
Yes.
making progress, investing your actual self into these games to accomplish these things, so that you get this boost of, like, I feel like I accomplished something, rather than I just paid money so that I could get this. This is my body and my soul and my mind feel as though I spent all of this time and energy
So
into this product, and out of that product manifests something that can exist and that transcends this world and that world,
so
and it goes into something else.
I completely understand and get it, but I also, at the same time, I'm like, please God, no, we need to not do this. We need to not have our lives be a video game.
It would be a chase, right? If you think about it, it would end up just being a chase. Oh, there's this game, and there's this game, and there's this game, and there's this game. So rather than, but at the same time, rather than the microtransactions aspect of it, it would be you're buying this game, and the game is personally designed for an experience. So in a sense, what it would be like is, imagine it like this in more simple way, right? People go and they watch a movie. They'll spend 15, 20 bucks or whatever to go see a movie. And that movie is here it is, and you're just on intake. That's it. You're just on intake. But if you could take that experience that you got and now you can manifest it into something else, because I can't tell you how many times I walk out of a movie theater and I don't think about it at all. I don't think about it because I don't really care that much about it. There's very few times where I was like, oh man, this, and I'm actually even talking about the movie on the way home. But imagine if you actually got something out of it, and you could insert it into something else in your life, and that was only like 2 hours.
Right. So yes, there are a lot of really fun things we can do with technology. My pushback is just that we are more and more entertaining ourselves and less interacting with real people in the real world. You can't go to a Starbucks and make eye contact with anybody. They're all connected to the phone constantly.
True.
Everyone, you walk anywhere, it's all,
oh man
they're crossing the
that does
street.
sound dangerous.
They're crossing the street. They're just on their phone. No one makes eye contact. I'm driving around. Like, normally, what you do is there's a stop sign situation, or whatever else, you're looking. Like, I have a free right turn here. I need your eyes so that I can take this turn and know you're not going to walk in front of me. But they're not.
Yeah.
They don't look at you. So
Yeah.
I don't like that we're becoming more and more strategizing to become more and more
digitized, or whatever you might
digitized, and
say.
having, yes, you're talking about real things that will be really fun and that could be great fun experiences, but I just think it's going to set our lives even more out of balance.
You're probably very much right. As much as this is something that I would love to see and have be an experience, I think it was maybe even in our last conversation of how it could effectively turn the world into 15-minute cities of like, you all that you do is be entertained, and you are so distracted with entertainment and achievements and making progress in these fake digital worlds, that so that you can gain and acquire things that you just don't even actually end up living life, because you're dumping all of your time and energy into these concepts.
And
So yeah.
And the even more serious thing, which has taken toll on my life for sure, is that while the things can be innocent, but you only have so many hours in the day and so much energy to spend on different things. And if you channel your energy into games and things like that, you don't have the ambition to do anything else. And so there are many things in my life, many things where I have great ideas I never do anything about. And partially because it's an easier place and more of an instantly fun. And like, if you get any sort of roadblock, you get a little speed bump, you're just like, I'm just going to play video games,
Yeah.
It's really easy to do that.
Yeah. So what if then you took this same general concept, only you applied it to the real world, and you said, hey, you go join a gym, and you can build up this, right. as you work out, as you increase your own stuff,
you will level up and more girls will be attracted to you.
Well, no, not that, but there's a digital aspect to it. Like, so maybe they can almost be paired up, where there's video game type things where you can get a Buster Sword and you can do this and you can do that. But if you wanted your character to be fit, then you had to go to the gym and you had to work out X amount of time, and you have to maintain that. And then you have access to that. Or here's rock climbing.
Cool. That's kind of cool.
That allows
if you could actually
character,
have some sort of like a virtual reality character that is representative of how well you live your life in some ways.
Right. Right.
Meaning, like, if you do things well, you have better things in the game. Like,
here's what you can
it's
almost do.
incentive to at least participate in real life too. You can't just be
Right.
You can't
So
be
say
this
you have it
wasting away
so
human that's just like, oh, I'm the strongest guy in the world and I can do all these things.
yeah. So say like you can play Final Fantasy 7 and all this stuff, right? And boom, you got the Buster Sword. Your character has a Buster Sword, but he's not very efficient with it. It's more of like a cool thing that he has. But if you are fit or you work out or you take care of yourself or you do rock climbing or you do XYZ kinds of things that contribute to, like, maybe there's like a stat level thing that's like,
Yeah.
in order to best wield this, you have to have these kinds of things. And those kinds of things are the only things that you can get from the real world. And so that's where you go join a gym and you go do this and you go do that. And so then it kind of enhances your digital experience by doing things in the physical world. That, I feel like that actually creates a really healthy, positive balance to where when you do digital stuff, what you are able to attain out of it is cosmetic stuff. But you can have things that are set within the world where, like, hey, you know what, you need to have I don't know, botany knowledge, right? But you can't get botany knowledge from any of these virtual games. You have to actually go out and take gardening classes, right? You actually have to go learn how to plant stuff and grow food, and then now you can actually grow food in the actual game, right?
So that sounds like something you do with a culture that is already stuck in the virtual world, and you're trying to push people out back
So you
into the
get
real
them
world, right? By doing these things to incentivize. Come on,
so you
please,
screw them
please,
up first.
please get off. Yes. So I don't know. I mean,
I
it's
think
a
it could be
fun
done. I
thing
mean,
to
you look
think
at
about,
Nintendo.
but I think it would be better if like electricity didn't exist or something. I mean, obviously that's not what we
Well,
want, but I mean,
okay.
it would be better if we were just all interacting with people all the time, I think.
Well, okay, but okay, so think about Nintendo, right? Nintendo has this. If anybody's going to be able to start doing it, I feel like Nintendo would probably be the guys to do it, because they have Pokemon, they have the concept and the actual technology to transfer content to future products. So they've already got that through their Pokemon and all that. They have franchises, they have IPs, so they have they have Mario, Zelda, Metroid, they have all Donkey Kong, you name it. They've got so many things that people are interested in collecting, and those are all cosmetic things. They have Mii's, which is your own individual character, and then they have things like there's the Wii Fit board that you can stand on, and you can do stuff that tracks things. They have little pedometer things that tracks how many steps you take. They have all kinds of things. They even have like a little finger pulse thing that tracks your heart rate.
Yeah.
So they already are kind of, in a sense, pushing towards that, the ability at least for people to make those things a reality. Now, all that they would really have to do is say, hey, we want to pair up. We want to team up with like LA Fitness, or, you know, this rock climbing group, or this rock climbing REI. We want to do it with this and do it with this, so that if you go out and you participate in these things, you end up being able, once you reach this threshold, you know, you can, and you can get this thing scanned X amount of times, you know, within, and it has to be, you know, really safeguarded. You can't just say, here, you scan it and I'll just scan it again, scan it again, scan it again, scan it again. Hey, you got your character. You don't ever have to come back. But they can make it so that they can pair up with these other companies to encourage people to go out and join these places, get away from the games. Because Nintendo, as much as they want you to play their games, they don't want you to just exclusively be playing these games. They want you to be out and about. Pokemon Go, you know, you're out and about, but you kind of have to play. But then they create devices that make it so that you don't actually have to play. You just hit this button, and as you walk, it collects the Pokemon for you. So I think that they really have. If somebody's going to do it, I think it could be Nintendo. And I think if it were to happen, I think that doing it in that kind of a way of like, what is my actual character's abilities and what can I do as my character, be separate in order to change and alter and upgrade those things. You have to do things in the real world. And if you want to do things and if you want cosmetics, if you want cool things in the cosmetic realm, that's where the game comes in. So I feel like there's an idea that could go somewhere, but it's gonna take probably somebody other than me to steal this idea.
Well,
and make it a reality.
Well, the only way it's going to happen is through a capitalistic system. So,
which is exactly what I described. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be through, first of all, the technology has to evolve some because it's quite taxing to have a headset on.
Well, you don't need to have a headset on for all of this stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. It could just be, here's a game and there's a world, but you'd have to build the world in a way.
You'd have to. This is not happening unless there's
like GTA.
Unless there's a really, really good immersive headset. This whole concept is not happening.
I don't think it would have to be like a Ready Player One where you're putting on a headset and you're fully enveloped into it. I don't think it needs to necessarily even start there. It could start in a set in some sense like GTA. Like, here's a world, and you've got your stats, you've got your strength, and your character runs around, and the more that you do stuff, the better you just kind of get at those things. Your shooting gets better, your driving gets better, all of these things. But those are all things that you're doing within the game. And all that I would effectively be saying is you would make your actual character better by doing things in the real world. And all of the cosmetics and all of the guns and all of this kind of stuff, that stuff gets better and cooler by doing things in the game. But you can only accomplish those things in the game if your character is actually better. So it would encourage you to be better in the real world.
I'm thinking that the only way that is going to be an evolution is what I said before, is if it's coming back from going too far, because otherwise there's so many people that are not interested in working out or doing anything. They're like, I'm not playing that game. It's like,
you'd be surprised. I mean, look at what happened with Wii Fit. I mean, Wii Fit and Wii Sports, like, dude, Wii Sports was crazy popular.
Well, Wii Sports is very,
and that was fun. All about movement.
Because those are very fun, and it's a cool concept.
Well, but okay, are you telling me that like you go like take a scuba diving course, right? That's not going to be fun. You go take a jet. You go learn how to sail a boat. You're telling me that's not going to be fun? Like, hey, if you want to be better, like if you want to be able to sail a boat, so like you got to go learn in the real world how to sail a boat. Boom! Now you can sail a boat in the game.
But it's pay to win. What if I can't afford to take a sailboat lesson? It's only the people. So there's all these conversations that already exist in the video game world for everything. That's why I'm saying it'll just never happen. People won't want it. They won't fight back and push back because like it's pay to win. Like you can't. Everyone has to be on the same. It has to be the same amount.
There's a hump right there that you got to get through. How do you do that? I don't have the answers to all these things. I'm just spitballing concepts.
That's fine. I mean, it's a fun.
That's concept. A good real world. That's a great challenge. I'll have to think more about that.
This has been quite the impromptu conversation. I did not plan on talking about this for an hour. It's fine. It's good. It's interesting, but is it interesting to other people? We will find out.
Who knows? I think it just got progressively more and more interesting the deeper we got, in my personal opinion. I mean we crafted a whole new concept and poked holes in it. So I think I had a blast. All right. With it, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this kind of a concept. So if you made it this far, drop a like. You know what I mean? If you liked what you saw and what you heard, hit that subscribe button. And if you want more, hit that bell icon. We got it covered. Let's go. All right, you guys. Take care.